welcome to another great episode of the Beyond Normal podcast. We have a very special guest today. She'll be breaking down some of the incredible things she's doing at her company, FlyWallet, in the travel space. Her name is Alejandra Fernandez. She is the founder of FlyWallet, which is out here making it easy for you to plan that next great trip. So without further ado, I want to bring her to the stage. How's it going?
Everything's good. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to talk with you today.
Appreciate you coming on the platform. So on Beyond Normal, we like to spend some time setting the stage, allowing you to hop on the soapbox and tell folks a little bit about yourself and, what got you to the stage where you're a founder, because it's not easy out here taking that gamble on yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm Alejandra. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic. I guess I can talk about how I originally had the idea for FlyWallet. I was in medical school, and I really used travel as a way to deal with like the burnout between exams and things like that. So I would always, every time I had time off, go to a country that didn't speak the same language as me, a completely new culture. And I feel like more than my education, travel is what shaped me into the person I am today. I consider myself a global citizen, a compassionate person, and someone, willing to take risks and fight for their dreams. And I think travel gave me a lot of the skills that I most admire. So I wanted to give back to people. I wanted people to have the same opportunities as me. And I didn't want people to continue to look at travel as this thing that's a luxury that you need to have a lot of money to be able to do. And that's the mission behind FlyWallet is really to help people build wealth through experiences and help them afford travel in a way that is financially empowering. Because right now, 7 out of 10 travelers, when they're booking a trip, end up putting themselves in some sort of debt. So there's a big problem that we're addressing.
That's awesome. Like just it really is a luxury, right? To be able to travel and experience different cultures, different foods. I'm a foodie. I know you're probably a foodie as well, but just to be able to be somewhere different, and to have that kind of comparison to your everyday life, that really is something we all got to make sure we take advantage of. So can you dig a little bit into some of the features of the platform that you focused on, initially to get people engaged and planning those trips that we somewhat like to put off?
Yeah. When I first started the company, it was very much like a book now, pay later service. So we would help people microfinance their trips, split them up into affordable, easy, and automated installments. But really, the dream behind it was always to go more towards save now, pay later. Because we didn't want people to, like I said, put themselves in debt, rely on credit, get into bad habits, and get into the habit of buying something that maybe they cannot necessarily afford right now. And that was really where the birth of like the budget calculator, that is a main part of a FlyWallet, was born. So to use FlyWallet, you just sign up, and you can search a flight to any destination. We have all the airlines, and you can search as many flights as you want. So, for example, in my case, my best friend is getting married in Rome in August. My family wants to do a trip together, for Christmas. So I can add all the flights that I'm planning, that I can foresee planning to take, in the next year. And FlyWallet will tell me exactly how much I need to save every month to be able to book all of those flights when they're at their cheapest price. So it uses this predictive technology and just keeps you on track. You just link your debit card and you can set and forget whatever the recommended budget is or whatever you can afford. And then you just let it do its thing. And then next time you check your FlyWallet, you realize, wow, I have built a really nice travel fund here. Let me take my family on a nice vacation. Let me go visit, my mother, who I haven't been able to see in a while, or whatever it is you may need.
Appreciate you breaking that down, and that actually goes perfectly with the slogan for FlyWallet, which is every journey begins with a cent. Start yours today, right? And so it's very simple, right? Saving up whatever you can in the moment,
Yeah.
in any given moment, whatever it is, if it's a few bucks or if it's more than that. And
Yeah,
then
we
you build
really
up to, right?
yeah. We really like to say that once you start your Fly Wallet, your trip has actually begun, because there is that moment of preparation that is so crucial to, your trip. And you know, Fly Wallet just provides that space.
Got it, got it. So I gotta ask you, since we're talking about upcoming trips, you mentioned some of the trips that ideas, examples for yourself, but I'm curious, like, what are those trips that are on your radar right now that you're using FlyWallet for?
Yeah. The closest trip I have was supposed to be like 2 weeks from now to Poland. A lot of people are telling me don't go because of the current crisis. A lot of Ukrainian refugees are headed to Poland, because I really wanted to visit the Auschwitz Memorial Museum there. Um, I think I'm still gonna go, but we'll see how the situation continues to develop. I have my best friend's wedding in Rome, a family trip in Turkey, and I want to fly to the States, to see my siblings that I haven't been able to see in a while. So it's a lot of good memories to look forward to. That's what it's all
It,
about.
Creating those new memories, and I like how you position Fly Wallet. I think that must be the marketer in you, to position it that way, because that's perfect. That's positioning it the right way for folks. Like, as soon as you click to submit and decide what that destination is, a platform like Fly Wallet pretty much makes it's a reality at that point.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Because a lot of people say, I want to travel, I want to do this. Oh, me and my friends were going to go and do, Cancun next summer or whatever. But it's not really real till you put that first dollar down.
Exactly. So, all right, I want to dig a little bit, pivot a little bit into you being a founder, right? Because it's not easy being a founder in this current environment. So, I'm curious, just what made you decide that, or I want to be the owner of this in this current moment? Because it is, I like to say, like jumping off a cliff, right? Being an entrepreneur, there's no playbook, there's no Wikipedia for it, and so you taking on that, I'm curious, like, what drove you to this moment where you wanted to start your own business?
Sure. For me, it wasn't necessarily like I want to be a CEO, I want to start a business. Let me think of a good idea. For me, I created FlyWallet more to solve a problem for myself and for the people around me. So I was able to just like teach myself a little bit of code. I created a WordPress website and linked it to a PayPal. And I was essentially just um I was I was what's the word? Acting. I was acting like a bank when in reality I didn't know that I didn't have the the licenses, the qualifications to be able to do that. So um I just started building naturally. Applied to pitch competitions, started joining little entrepreneur groups around me, but I never like pivoted my life. I was in my last year of medical school when I came up with the idea, so I continued going to the hospital, seeing patients. But then in between patients, when all my friends were kind of socializing, I was like, okay, business plan, ideas, just drafting up, like working on this side hustle. That to me, I was at the time, I didn't really consider a side hustle. For me, it was like my passion project, I guess. And it was when I started winning these, pitch competitions, entrepreneur competitions, and the customer feedback as well. Like one of the earliest customers that I was most proud of was like a mother of four who was like always dreaming to take her kids to Disney World. So she was saving with us. And with FlyWallet, she finally made it happen. So it was just those real moments and those real milestones I was hitting that suddenly made me feel like, oh, okay, like I'm doing something real here. I'm doing something big. What I'm doing actually impacts people's lives. And gradually I started feeling that sense of ownership, and I started feeling like I was filling the shoes of a CEO, of an international CEO. Um, and so I continued to just build on those skills and build on those skills. Um, and yeah, now it's been 4 years and people are coming, to me for advice on how to start a business, and And I try and help people as much as I can.
That's awesome. Like just you that example that you just gave with the mom. Like I actually saw that like a commercial was just like playing in my head as you explained that, and that's just like those are the type of moments that matter. And then you remove like you're helping people remove like that monetary piece from what they're actually trying to do. Their end goal is to have that experience, and so I almost got like I almost went into my marketer mode where I was like, oh, this would be a great commercial, right? But I want to ask you a little bit more about it. You touched a little bit on your background,
Mm.
uh, medical school. So obviously that was a different path. But now you're on this path as a founder. So I'm curious, what skills have you maybe leveraged from that path that maybe have helped you in certain instances, and what's maybe been an opportunity area where you came into this founder journey and knew you had to focus a little bit more because you weren't necessarily going down this path of being a founder.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think there's a lot of dimensions to answering that question, but um, I think what I learned through school, well, what naturally was in me, which is why I chose the medicine path to begin with, is I wanted to help people and change lives every day with what I do. And I do find that with FlyWallet as well. And I think that's what keeps me going through the tough times of entrepreneurship is knowing your why behind doing what you do is so important, and that it's bigger than just you. Medical school also taught me to have just like rigor. Medical school is a really tough environment. So, my intelligence pushed me through, my rigor pushed me through it. And all those elements of my personalities that I was able to refine in medical school have helped me so much um, with my company, FlyWallet. And in terms of scale building, um, you can learn anything with books on the internet. So, with me, between patients, the first book I ever read on entrepreneurship was The Lean Startup. And then that just opened my mind. And it's the same with studying medicine. You have a list of questions, and you're like, okay, now that I've understood this concept, I have 10 questions that I need to answer to make me understand this deeper and deeper. And that's really what happened with FlyWallet, because FlyWallet, in the marketing perspective, as we've discussed, is a travel company. But in the foundation of what it is, if you peel back the layers, FlyWallet is really a financial technology. Um, and there's so much in terms of global jurisdiction and banking regulations that go into it. And all that I had to learn from zero because I didn't come from that finance background. But that's what, medical school is all about. You don't know what's wrong with a patient. You ask the right questions, you investigate, you figure it out. And on the other side, you heal someone. And it's the same with entrepreneurship.
I appreciate you breaking it down that way and making that comparison. You said something in there that I think is very interesting because the way that your business is positioned, it is tackling a global problem, right? Like you said, there's different regulations, there's different currencies and things like that play into this, depending on the country of the individual. So I'm curious, how did you pick, where to start in that problem, because it is such a massive problem to have. But there's probably an area or two where you may have saw some opportunity in terms of proof of concept. So I'm curious, like, how did you choose what regions or what direction to go in for such a big problem to solve?
Yeah. So, in my case, I'm from Dominican Republic, but I also have the U.S. passport. My co-founder is from UK and from France as well. And when we first started, we had another co-founder from Israel. So we were always like this multi-dimensional, international, remote team from the get-go, which is something that's considered normal now, but at the time, 4 years ago was still relatively unknown or new. So we always knew FlyWallet has to be a globally accessible product that anyone can use. So like I said, when we were pitching FlyWallet at pitch competitions, there was one pitch competition where the judge said to us, you know what you're doing is completely illegal, right? And we were like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're holding people's funds from all around the world. You don't have a banking license. You could be funding terrorism. This could be money laundering. And he said he was going to report us. So we stopped the business. We gave everyone their money back. And we said, okay. It was actually the first time we heard the term fintech, which, if you were in the entrepreneur world, you knew, oh, all the money's going into fintech. All the investors are investing in fintech. But for us, we didn't know we were a fintech. We were just creating something that we believed in. We were just solving a problem. So we realized, okay, what industry we're really in. And we just started learning about all the laws, all the regulations, KYC, AML. And everyone, every investor, every mentor, everyone said, you have to choose a country. You have to choose which countries you're going to start servicing. You can't be globally accessible. And we just wouldn't take no for an answer. We just kept pushing, until we were able to passport a license from a bank in Luxembourg that actually offers e-wallets, because we realized if with e-wallets we were able to service people from over 40 countries, they would just have to save in in US dollars or in euros, or in British pounds, which a lot of people from developing countries don't mind that, because they prefer actually to save in a currency that is stronger than their own, that might have really high inflation rates or something. So when we launched FlyWallet, we were able to keep our promise of being a globally accessible product. And that really paved the way into where we are now, where we're entering the Web3 space and the crypto space, because it just resonates so much with our original mission that we never compromised on, which is we are going to build a financial tool that is globally accessible, that anyone can use. Because if you look at the fintech industry right now, all these new tools, N26, Revolut, they're only available to Europeans, to Americans. And it's like the rest of the world tends to be overlooked, as always. And we don't want FlyWallet to be like that. So that's really how we got to this point.
Oh my gosh. Like that story that you just told, Alejandra, where it's like somebody tells you something is illegal, right? But that I would say that is a beyond normal concept that you just kind of laid out there where okay, somebody told you like maybe you're breaking some rules in certain ways, that entrepreneur spirit is to like stretch the rules, like see how far you can go. And so you and your team saying, okay, maybe what we're doing is illegal, but maybe, where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly.
And so for you to figure that out in the e-wallet space, the cryptos in that world is really showing us that, the boundaries are, they're thinner than we think, and it's okay to push a little bit further. And it's awesome that you figured that out, and somebody gave you some news that could seem catastrophic to the original goal at hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a moment in the founder journey where a lot of people could have quit, but it just never crossed my mind. I don't know.
Got it. That's awesome. And so I know there was an announcement recently around FlyWallet being a player in the crypto space. Celo, I believe, is the blockchain community ecosystem that you're a part of. You want to tell us just a little bit around that announcement with Celo and where that kind of fits in helping FlyWallet grow towards that goal of helping people around the world?
Yeah. So, as I said, like we always knew where we wanted to arrive in terms of our technical capabilities, and we knew, okay, we want to be a financial tool that is globally accessible, that has no fees. And it was one day a friend of mine from med school just sent me the Valora app's website, which is the main crypto wallet on the Celo blockchain. And one of the things of the Celo blockchain that I learned after that really resonated with me is that they're really pushing for mainstream adoption by being really user friendly and really familiar to people that are not necessarily crypto savvy, or maybe people who've never used crypto before. So it's not really like they put it forward on their website. But me, I was already, I think, 3 years into FlyWallet. I know the technology that I'm looking at, and I'm like, okay, this in the back end, this is crypto in the back end. They don't tell you on the website, but I know, because it has no fees, it's globally accessible. You can send money to anyone in the world. There's no issues there. And I said, whatever they're doing, this is a technology we need to look into, because this is what we need for us. So that's when I really got into the rabbit hole of blockchain, of crypto, and I was able to discover Celo. And Celo, their mission just resonated so much. Their values were the same as ours. It was all about prosperity for everyone. It was all about accessibility and financial inclusion. Because the thing that makes the Celo blockchain unique is that they tie it to phones. Because there's so many people that are unbanked in the world, but most of those people actually have a smartphone. So if you can tie, the crypto wallet and the blockchain to the phone, then it suddenly becomes accessible to everyone. So we started building relationships with the Celo team when there was the Ethereum conference in Paris. And so since we live in Paris, we went, we showed up, we started talking to the founders. We got along, we showed them what we're working on. We started kind of pitching the possibilities of how Celo and FlyWallet could go together. And at the time, I wouldn't say it resonated with everyone, but we just built, we built, and then we integrated the Valora wallet with FlyWallet. So you could go on the new FlyWallet, you could link the Valora crypto wallet, and you would be able to book flights with all the Celo assets. And so we just showed this to the team. We got accepted into their accelerator program. And so then they started seeing, oh, this is what is called in the crypto space an off ramp, which is an ability of how you take the crypto and get it into the real world. How can you spend it in the real world? Because a lot of people were using the Valora wallet. They'd have this crypto in there, but then where do you spend it? What do you do with it? And FlyWallet became a channel on how they could spend it to book trips and to book experiences. And now that relationship has grown to the point where you can enter the Valora wallet now, and FlyWallet is directly in the app, and you can click and book directly. So it's just the beginning, but we're really excited about this partnership.
Yeah, that's awesome. I myself, I'm in crypto. I have bought quite a few. Not sure why I have so many. I think I went kind of crypto crazy when I first started. And one of the things that a few of the cryptos that excited me when I bought them, they were kind of forward projecting around utility. How do we use it? We all know how to use the US dollar, right? We know we can go out and get certain products. And so it's really cool to see a company like FlyWallet come along and actually give them a reason, like give them that utility, give them that the reason for existing. Because there are thousands of cryptos out there, probably more than that now. I don't even know the exact number, right? But a lot of them don't really have a utility yet. Yeah. And so I think it's really cool for a company like FlyWallet to come along, and you're really stamping Celo in my mind as an option for me, because I know that there is a clear-cut utility, a way that I can leverage it. And then on top of that, all the benefits that come with appreciation of the asset, the crypto asset itself, that utility is still really open-ended. So it's really cool to see that this is going to be a great case study, in the coming years, right? Because we're just getting started in this new crypto world that clearly isn't going away.
And another thing I would add about Celo that we really liked is that they're really pushing forward their stable coins. So they've right now have launched a US dollar stablecoin, a euro stablecoin, and they just launched their real, the Brazilian currency stablecoin. I think they're looking at doing the Philippines next. And so giving our users the ability to save in crypto, which us as a business would allow us to be globally accessible and avoid all these high transaction fees from banks, was what we wanted. But then it would preserve that user experience for the user of not being intimidated by the volatility of an asset. of being able to just set aside money, have that money earn, which is another huge benefit of the crypto space, is you can stake your stable coins and earn on them and move them around as you choose and in a decentralized way, but in a way that's not like, super intimidating. And for people to put their money in a volatile asset that they don't know what it's backed by, when they've never gotten their hands dirty with crypto before, it's asking a lot of them, So for us, FlyWallet, and for the Celo community, FlyWallet was really like a platform for a lot of people maybe to experience crypto for the very first time and to use it and be like, oh, I didn't even realize I'm actually using crypto right now. So when it feels familiar like that, that's the best way to propel mainstream adoption of crypto, through like these simple use cases that they face day to day.
I love it. That is another gem. Thank you, Alejandra, for that. That was my ears perked up, and um, as soon as I saw it across the news feed for FlyWallet, and I definitely wanted to make sure we brought that up for our viewers. Next up, you know, like where do you see this growing to in the foreseeable future?
Yeah.
I asked that just in terms of framing. World domination is a topic that we like to discuss quite a bit on this platform. What does that world domination look like for you? And the whole entire globe is really already within your goal, your long term goals for FlyWallet. But I'm curious, like, what does that world domination look like for you for that next generation coming along, looking to book that travel and go somewhere they've never been before?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's really to continue doing what we're doing. So adopt more crypto assets, link to more crypto wallets, because for us, Web3 and that decentralization of people's finances is around the corner and inevitable. So we want to be one of the front runners in the travel space, to be, really that Web3 travel agency that everyone knows about, everyone uses. So if you're on your Coinbase and you're earning on your assets, you can set them aside into a travel vault, your Fly Wallet, and be planning for trips there, booking trips there with your crypto earnings, and go cross chain, and just continue to expand.
Great. I appreciate you breaking it down that way. Looking forward to hearing more about that world domination, but you're well on your way. In closing, tell us a little bit around how folks can stay in contact with FlyWallet. Stay in tune with what the team over at FlyWallet is building and innovating on, because I know there's more to come.
Yeah, so you can look for announcements at FlyWallet on Instagram, at fly_wallet on Twitter. Our Twitter is a bit more tailored to our Web3 product, and our Instagram is a bit more general, but you can reach out to us anywhere there, or to me directly via email. That's alejandra@flywallet.io.
A founder putting out their email.
Of course, I'm
Not that
open
many
to
do
social.
that, but I love it. Yeah, I love it. That's how you get that feedback, right, Alejandro?
Yeah, yeah. Like, one of my favorite things is talking to customers. It's the way you learn.
Facts.
Yeah.
So, I just want to say, I appreciate you coming on the platform, sharing your journey into building Fly Wallet. I'm using the platform myself. I'm excited to have other folks listening in, tap in with the product and book that next trip. In closing, I just want to pass it to you one more time. What do you want folks to leave this conversation with, knowing you've let them know, how to stay in contact with Fly Wallet, all the great things that you're working on now, what to look for moving forward. But what's that one thing you want folks to leave this conversation knowing and keep top of mind?
That travel is the only experience that makes you richer. I think there's this big misconception with travel right now that it's just for leisure, it's just for luxury. But so many big opportunities can come out of travel, new perspectives. The best friend that I mentioned, I'm going to her wedding. She actually met the man she's marrying on a girls' trip in Greece, actually, and just randomly met him. And they lived on opposite sides of the globe and met the love of her life. So, I really want people, if in the back of their mind they're thinking about taking a trip, they'd like to see something new, just deeply believe that you can do it, and stop talking yourself out of things, whether it's a trip to take or anything, a side hustle to start, whatever it may be. Don't talk yourself out of anything. Fight for what you want. Life is short.
Mic drop. Thanks. I'm just gonna leave it like that. That's the perfect way to end the episode. Again, appreciate you for coming on the platform, sharing more about FlyWallet, and thanks to the listeners for tuning in to the Beyond Normal podcast.
Thanks,